Good morning, La Familia League. Welcome. I'm going to do a verbal comment on this is for Max's posts. Um, First of all, I appreciate your post, Max, because fantasy football to me, it's only as good as the players or the owners that are in the league. And so, you put two posts or two blogs on the board, and in 5 weeks or 4.5 weeks, and that's more than half of our league has ever posted. So, from the co-commissioner standpoint, I appreciate that because I want to know if people aren't happy. The commissioner is here just to manage things. It's not here to police people. It's just here to try to make the league and um, try to make as many owners happy as possible to be here. So I saw the first post that you put earlier, and like I said, on a blog earlier this season, I'm co-commissioner because I'm a commissioner of another league, and it takes a lot of time to this league. It takes a little bit of time to make sure everyone's answered. So I'm trying to help Joey with co-commissioning this year, so he can take over next year. So that being said, Joey and I talked this morning about the trade veto, and I also want to touch bases on Max, your first post, about being upset how people are bogarting people or stockpiling quarterbacks. Well, that's fantasy football, and that's just sports in general. If you're playing football and you know that the opposing team can't stop your run, you're not going to pass. You're not going to pass. You're going to run. If they can't stop the run, you might write the same play over and over again. Left sweep, right sweep, whatever. That's just part of strategically playing any game. I just use football as an example. So if you're playing fantasy football and it's a two quarterback league, I didn't draft quarterbacks. I made a bonehead mistake, and I told myself that I was going to draft quarterbacks last year and this year, and it didn't happen. So, that being said, it's just the way it goes. In a draft, everybody has 16 picks. So, you putting the post out there, I don't know if you're upset with yourself because of the way your draft went, because I am. I mean, I felt your post. I'm upset because I don't have any quarterbacks, and yeah, I feel the same way. But that's just the strategic way of playing fantasy football. No one's going to say, "Oh, sorry, Pete, you didn't have any quarterbacks. Let me draft or trade for you for a chump wide receiver." That's not going to happen. Nor would I want anybody to feel pity for me because I made my bed and I'm sleeping in it. So I'm not speaking for you in any aspect, Max. I'm just speaking from my standpoint. And who knows? I mean, you got to win last week. You got to win as a flex. I don't know if you had a wide receiver or a running back there, but it wasn't a quarterback. So it can be done. It's not that it can't be done, but quarterbacks just statistically put up more points because in this league, quarterbacks get 6 points, and other leagues, quarterbacks get 4. So that being said, it's a bummer if you drafted wrong, and you never know. That's what's cool about fantasy football. You never know who's going to go off. We didn't know Reggie Bush was going to go off, or if he was going to get hurt, or that Hoyer was going to come in for Cleveland and do halfway decent for a couple of games and then get hurt. You don't know who's going to get hurt. That's fantasy football. It's the roll of the dice. So the other aspect of this league is we have Mikey, who's never played fantasy football before. So we're trying to help him along too, and kind of go through some growing pains. He dropped the player earlier in the season. I think it was Bernard Pierce on an accident. He thought that he needed to drop the player prior to getting the player. He was going to get the player automatically. He didn't understand the waiver wire. So the waiver wire is a concept that for some people that have never played, they don't understand. And so as a commissioner, I put that guy back on his roster because of the mistake. So you might think that's being favoritism, but Joey and I both talked about it, and Joey's stuck between a rock and a hard place in that transaction because that's his little brother. So he's never played before, and I just kind of took over and said, you know what, that's not fair. He needs to be able to pick that guy up. And then I talked to him, Joey talked to him, so it won't happen again. If it happens again, that's on him. If it happens first time, shame on him. If it happens one time, we can do it, but it does it twice. Shame on him for not paying attention. Okay, so as far as the trade veto that happened here, the way I set trades up into this league and my other league is if a trade goes through, two people have to agree on it. If two people agree on it, then it goes to the commissioner. Once the commissioner sees it, there's an override. He has to either approve it or veto it. So it sits there until the commissioner gets to it, and I think it's 3 days is the waiting period, like the cooling off period, so to speak. Here, if during that cooling off period someone doesn't agree with the trade, they can tell the commissioner that they want it vetoed, like for whatever reason. I don't know. Everyone trades for individual purposes, obviously. So I don't know. I'm not even going to attempt to get in the head of Mike or Joey. I don't know who disagreed with it. to me, looking at it, it looked like Joey was getting the benefit of the doubt there. I think it was Pierre Garcon and Niners D for Des Bryant. To me, that's whoever was getting Des Bryant. That's a lot for Des Bryant. So that's just my opinion. Earlier in the season, we had a trade between Petey and his grandpa. It was my dad. So the Petes were involved, and to me, I thought it was kind of questionable. So some people texted me and said, I don't agree with the trade that's on the board, and that's another reason for the cooling off period is for league players to see the trade. And if I don't hear anything as a commissioner, I don't get a text or there's nothing on the board, then it's going to go through. Um, and that's just to make sure no one gets pissed off, because we want to be as fair as possible. In my opinion, and this is just me, if I see a trade on the board in my other league, I automatically will approve it unless I see people, if one or two people get upset, you're not going to make everybody happy. That's just the way it goes. So that's what happened with this trade. For whatever reason, one of them didn't want to go through. So it's as if the trade never really happened. No one played. If someone would have played, then the trade would have had to have gone through because that's not right. So that's why, I don't see any harm being done in this. And, I like I said earlier, I appreciate the fact that you're expressing your opinion. But when you say, and I have never seen so much crap go on in the league, when you put a statement like that, you're not only, I don't want to say it's an attack, but it's being, you're talking shit to each individual owner that's part of this league too. So there's 12 owners that make up the league, and so you're not only talking against the league, but you're talking against the individual owners who are part of the league. So I don't know what angle you're coming from there. I mean, I've played fantasy football for 15 years, and I've seen all kinds of things happen. So I hope this answers your questions. I think a lot of it, both of the issues that we've had have been with rookie Mikey. And I love Mikey being in the league, and I'm excited that he's in the league. And if we have to make, tweak it a little bit so that things are understood, then so be it. My son, my son never played fantasy football. He was a rookie last year. I think we had to fix a few things within reason. We're not gonna. If he makes a mistake on a draft pick, that's the way it goes. That's just part of fantasy football. But, it's a family league. I understand there's money involved. And so we're trying to make it as user-friendly as possible. I mean, I've been in hardcore leagues where, trades get vetoed. And, I could go on and on. But, just as you played fantasy football, I played fantasy football. I've never played in a two-quarterback league until a couple of years ago. And then that's when we started bringing it here. And everyone seems to be happy with it. If you're not happy with a two-quarterback league, put it out there. And if we have a vote that everybody wants to go to an OP, which would be a tight end, running back, wide receiver, that's cool. I've played both ways. I personally like the two-quarterback league. I've also played in a three-wide receiver league, and that makes it a lot difficult too. And that's fun too. It's everyone has to play the same way. It's not like I'm having to, field three wide receivers. Should we go that way? Everybody has to field three wide receivers. Everybody's playing on an even playing field. So once again, I appreciate you putting stuff on the board and expressing your opinion because that's what it's about, man. I don't have to agree with you, but I support the fact that you get to express your opinion, and I like it because I get to know that you give a shit and you care about what's going on in the league. So, if you feel like it's too much hassle for you or you just get upset, fantasy football needs to be fun. It's going to be upsetting because you're going to lose. I don't like losing, and I'm 1-3, I think, and I'm not very happy about it. But I'm having fun because we're all here and we all going to have a good time together. Sounds kind of corny, but I think that's just how I feel. So, what I'm getting at, Max, is if you don't think this league's for you, man, there's no, we're not forcing you in the league. So we want to try to make it as fun for everybody. But, it's not for everybody. And if you, after this year, if you don't want to be in here, we've had people revolving. So there's no hard feelings. But, I wish you the best. And I hope this helped out with kind of our approach or what our rationale is or what happened. And I can't, like I said, I can't explain why two people didn't want to go through with the trade. And it gets vetoed it gets finally approved by the league manager or the commissioner. All right. So, hey, you guys have a good Sunday. Good luck tomorrow with everybody. And Monday night and Sunday night football, Chargers, Raiders, late game. All right, gentlemen. Peace.